Most likely for you, a photon is just another particle from the particle zoo, which has certain physical parameters that can be visualized, can be touched, and to which we can apply all the same concepts that we apply to particles like atoms. Although, it is not entirely correct to apply these concepts to atoms either, but that is a completely different story. A beam of light and everything else is primarily represented in your mind as a collection of particles moving in a certain direction. And here we need to recall the properties that light possesses, which classify it as a wave-like, so to speak, substance. Many interactions in physics are described through photons. This already suggests that photons are, let's say, not exactly a standard particle. Well then, let's return to the nature of the photon itself. If it is not a particle, then what is it? And what is this incomprehensible thing? This is, roughly speaking, a quantum of electromagnetic radiation, a quantum of an electromagnetic wave. When we discussed the electron, we said that the electron is, well, let's say also a certain quantum of the field. This quantum of the field represents, if visualized, let's say, a single oscillation. And this single oscillation essentially represents the transfer of energy. Therefore, when it comes to photons, we often say that there is a quantum of light, a single quantum of light, and we use such characteristic. This implies that it is a packet of energy equal to one quantum of light at a certain frequency. And when we talk about the quantization of such things in general, we use the photon as a measure of the amount of energy quanta. Essentially, everything comes down to the fact that a photon is a particle of radiation. However, despite this particle-like radiation sometimes exhibits those very particle properties that are characteristic of ordinary physical particles. Most often, photons are simply used as measures of energy. This indicates that energy is quantized. There is nothing fundamentally new here, but it is important to internalize this concept very well, so to speak. In fact, everything that happens around us is energy. And these references later emerge in the study of material bodies, in the study of the structure and composition of material objects. And very often we notice that any matter, in essence, tries to replicate this logic. And it wouldn't be a big stretch to say that there is water around or sand or anything else. This is also a certain type of energy. And if this is a certain type of energy, then to some extent, the logic of what we are discussing now about photons applies here. It turns out that all the categories we are used to associating with the photon, which come from our classical physics course, are actually not entirely correct. And here we need to start from just one thing. We need to start from the understanding that a photon is essentially a packet of energy. A packet of energy characterized by a certain set of parameters that are comparable to what we study in wave physics. This piece of energy, this packet of energy, this individual oscillation has its own frequency and a corresponding wavelength.